morning. My name is Lily DiFranco, and I'm currently a senior at Plant High School. Next year, I plan on attending the University of Florida to study criminology. I've been a part of this church my whole life. I got baptized with my brother downstairs by Pastor John, and I didn't know it then, but I would soon learn that the growth and love I experienced in this church community and youth group would be so abundant. I remember certain aspects of being a child here, like having my first day of school, looking forward and going to VBS and music camp every summer, and even throwing basketballs at my brothers in this very gym every Thursday while my dad had band practice. Growing up, church on Sunday mornings were a staple in my life, and it still continues to be to this day. This service has always been there for me when I needed to feel God within this community of people and to be lifted up and encouraged at the start of every week. Though I was always involved with this church throughout my childhood, I never really started to immerse myself in my own faith until a few years ago. Growing up, I was always told the shallower aspects of faith, like God loves me and he's always going to be there for me. These words are true, and it wasn't until my first high school trip to Blue Ridge, Georgia, that I really began to deepen my understanding of this and my faith in general. Going into this trip, I didn't really know a lot of people, as I missed out on a bunch of youth groups because of my gymnastics practices that I had every weekday. With the freedom from gymnastics at this point in time, I was opening myself up to these new opportunities, such as this trip. I still remember the day that we left in the vans, and Kenny saying that even if we didn't know everyone on the trip at the time, we would be leaving the trip with some of our closest friends, and he couldn't have been more right. This trip to Georgia allowed me to talk about my faith in ways I hadn't before, and understand my own faith through things like devotionals and book discussions that took place every day. I don't know what it is, but it's something about the mountains that makes me feel so close to God and feel his presence in ways that may be harder to feel in the city. I learned that a major structure that faith is built on is the relationships we have with others regarding faith and fellowship, which is why I believe that this community is so tight-knit, because we get to grow in our faith within each other. I remember the drive home from that trip and blasting Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson when we pulled into the church parking lot to show all the parents the amazing time we had in Georgia. I was on a spiritual high leaving that trip, and it allowed me to want to further this feeling into the school year and up to this moment. After that summer, I got asked by Kate Donaldson to be a part of the middle school youth group leader team, and it has honestly been some of the most eye-opening experiences in my faith. To see these young people show up to youth group every single week and be so compassionate towards one another and ask questions about their own faith and their own lives has been amazing. I'm grateful to have been a part of leading 2 years of middle school youth group, and seeing how these middle schoolers grow within their own faith has allowed me to grow in mine as well. Summer rolled around again, and I most recently got to go on my second trip to Blue Ridge, Georgia. Coming out of this trip, I read and experienced prayer in different ways and continued to deepen my relationship with the people around me, with both newer and older friends. I will never forget the memories that I have had in this church, the relationships I formed on these trips, and all the growth this youth program has brought me. I strongly believe that it is you all that has inspired me to become deeply rooted in my own faith. I first want to thank my parents for encouraging me to pursue my faith endeavors and for allowing me to become a part of this faith community. I want to thank Jody for inviting me my freshman year into a youth community I would soon call my second family, and for being one of the biggest inspirations and supporters in my life. I love watching you grow and be there for others in a way that I aspire to be like. You work so hard every day, and I'm truly envious of that. To Kate, I'm so grateful for your kindness and openness with me and how hard you've worked to allow our youth community to thrive. I'm forever thankful for you inviting me to become a middle school youth leader and for allowing me to grow in my faith alongside you. To Kenny, for being so intentional with our conversations and being a huge inspiration in my faith journey. I'm not only grateful for the ways in which you've helped me understand my faith, but for being there for me even if I didn't know I needed it. And lastly, to Taylor Colores, for inviting me to sit with you on my first day of high school, and when I didn't know anyone else, for inviting me to my first high school youth group, for being the most kind and uplifting person I ever knew, inside and outside of the classroom, and for being there for me through different stages of my life. I love you and I miss you every day. I know I'm truly going to miss this faith community, but I also know I'm always going to have a place to come back to that feels like home. Thank you.